Okay, so have you ever just like gotten a really strong craving, like out of nowhere for
Mm.
chocolate
Huh.
or maybe like chips or something salty?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like all of a sudden you just like really need it?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that might not just be like a random thing.
Oh, interesting.
Research suggests that it might actually be your body trying to tell you something.
Oh,
Like you might be low in a certain nutrient.
okay.
And specifically, we're going to be talking about magnesium today.
Got it.
Um, and magnesium is super important for a lot of different functions in your body.
Right.
And one form of magnesium that's really easy for your body to absorb is called magnesium glycinate.
Okay.
So that's what we're going to be diving into today.
It sounds good.
So just to start off, how important is magnesium? Like, what does it actually do in the body?
Yeah, so magnesium is like hugely important. I mean, it's involved in over 300 different enzyme processes
Wow.
in the body. So that means it's like essential for a ton of different things.
Oh.
Like, maybe things like energy production.
Mm-hmm.
So helping your body create ATP, which is like the energy currency of your cells.
Right.
It's also super important for muscle and nerve function,
Okay.
even DNA synthesis.
Oh, wow.
So like literally building the building blocks of your being.
So it's involved in a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty much involved in everything.
Okay, so we talked about those cravings being a potential sign of magnesium deficiency.
Right.
What are some other ways that our bodies might be trying to tell us that we need more magnesium?
Yeah, so there's actually a lot of different signs and symptoms of magnesium deficiency.
Okay.
Um, so besides those cravings for chocolate and salty foods, you might also notice things like
Mm-hmm.
being more sensitive to loud noises or bright lights.
Really?
Yeah. If you notice that cuts and scrapes are taking a really long time to heal, that can also be a sign
Interesting.
because magnesium is important for collagen production,
Right.
which helps with wound healing. And then probably one of the most common signs is fatigue, like chronic fatigue,
Yeah.
feeling tired all the time. And that's because if your cells aren't producing enough ATP,
Mm-hmm.
you just don't have the energy.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I've also read about brain fog being connected to magnesium.
Yes,
Like
definitely.
that feeling of being kind of spacey and having trouble focusing.
Yeah, so magnesium is really important for communication between brain cells.
Okay.
So if you're not getting enough magnesium, it can definitely affect your focus, your concentration, your memory, all of
Yeah.
that.
And does it affect mood at all?
Yeah, so research has shown that low magnesium levels can be linked to anxiety, irritability, mood swings.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and that's because magnesium helps regulate GABA, which is a neurotransmitter that calms the brain down.
Oh, interesting.
So if you're not getting enough magnesium, your GABA levels might be lower
Mm-hmm.
and you might be more prone to anxiety.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and there's also research linking low magnesium to low serotonin levels. And serotonin is another neurotransmitter that plays a role in mood.
Mm.
And when serotonin is low, people are more prone to depression.
Okay, so magnesium is really important for our mental health, it sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about sleep? I know that a lot of people struggle with sleep problems.
Yeah, magnesium plays a role in sleep as well.
Okay.
So it helps regulate melatonin, which is often called the sleep hormone.
Right.
And melatonin is what helps us fall asleep and stay asleep.
Got it.
So if you're deficient in magnesium, you might have trouble producing enough melatonin,
Okay.
which can lead to insomnia or just restless sleep.
So magnesium could potentially help with that.
Yeah, research suggests that it can.
Are there any other signs of magnesium deficiency that we haven't talked about yet?
Yeah, so some other things that you might notice are migraines and headaches,
Okay.
numbness and tingling in your extremities.
Interesting.
That can be a sign of nerve problems, which can be related to magnesium deficiency. And then for women specifically, increased PMS symptoms or menstrual cramps can also be a sign.
Oh, wow. So it seems like a lot of common issues could be related to magnesium deficiency.
Yeah, it really is a foundational mineral for so many bodily processes.
So if we think we might need more magnesium, why is magnesium glycinate such a good option?
So the main thing that sets magnesium glycinate apart is its absorption.
Okay.
Magnesium glycinate is basically magnesium that's bound to the amino acid glycine.
Mm.
And research has shown that this form of magnesium is absorbed way better than some other common forms, like magnesium oxide, sulfate, carbonate.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, those forms are just not absorbed as efficiently.
So it's not just about how much magnesium you take, it's about how much your body can actually use.
Exactly. It's all about bioavailability.
And the glycine helps with that.
Yeah, the glycine basically acts like a little escort, helping the magnesium get into your cells.
So what are some of the specific benefits of magnesium glycinate?
Well, one of the most well-researched benefits is muscle relaxation. So it can be really helpful for people who experience muscle cramps, especially at night.
Like leg cramps. Like
Exactly.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's a common problem.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and because it helps with muscle relaxation, it can also improve sleep quality,
Right.
which in turn can lead to more energy during the day.
Got it.
Magnesium glycinate can also help relax blood vessels,
Okay.
which can be beneficial for blood pressure.
Interesting.
And it's important for calcium balance in the body,
Right.
which is essential for strong bones. And it can actually help reduce the risk of kidney stones.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
So we've talked about how magnesium is good for muscles, nerves, bones. Does also affect blood sugar.
Yeah, research has shown that magnesium can improve insulin sensitivity,
Okay.
which basically means that your cells are better able to use glucose for energy.
So that's good for people with diabetes or pre-diabetes.
Exactly.
And what about those other symptoms that we talked about, like anxiety and
Yeah.
migraines?
Yeah, so studies have shown that magnesium glycinate can be helpful for those issues as well.
Okay.
It can help reduce the frequency and severity of migraine headaches,
Mm-hmm.
and it can also help reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression.
So it seems like magnesium glycinate can really have a positive impact on both our physical and mental health.
Yeah, it's really a multifaceted nutrient.
So we've been talking about magnesium glycinate, but does the glycine itself actually have any benefits?
Yeah, so glycine is actually an interesting amino acid with its own set of benefits.
Okay.
It has a calming effect on the brain,
Mm-hmm.
and it can actually help improve cognitive function.
Interesting.
And it also plays a role in sleep regulation.
Oh.
So it kind of works synergistically with the magnesium to
Yeah.
promote relaxation and sleep.
Got it.
Glycine is also important for collagen production,
Right.
which is good for your skin, hair, nails, and joints.
Mm-hmm.
And it's involved in blood sugar regulation.
Okay.
And it even has anti-inflammatory properties.
So it sounds like glycine is a pretty valuable nutrient in its own right.
Yeah, it definitely is.
So if someone's thinking about taking magnesium glycinate, are there any guidelines on how to take it?
Yeah, so in terms of timing, taking it in the evening can be beneficial for sleep,
Okay.
but you can really take it any time of day.
Got it.
And a typical dosage is between 100 and 400 milligrams of elemental magnesium per day.
So when we see magnesium glycinate supplements, what does that elemental magnesium mean?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
So elemental magnesium refers to the actual amount of magnesium in the supplement, not the total weight of the compound.
Got it.
So if a supplement says it has 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't necessarily mean it has 400 milligrams of elemental magnesium.
Okay, so we need to pay attention to that.
Yeah, you always want to look at the amount of elemental magnesium.
And can you take magnesium glycinate with or without food?
Yeah, you can take it with or without food.
Okay, great.
And there's some research suggesting that taking it with vitamin D3 and vitamin B6 might enhance absorption.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so that's something to consider.
So we talked about magnesium glycinate being a good option because of its absorption.
Right.
Are there any other forms of magnesium that people might consider?
Yeah, so there are a few other common forms of magnesium.
Okay.
One is magnesium citrate,
Okay.
which is often recommended for constipation because it has a laxative effect.
So if you're not looking for that laxative effect, glycinate might be a better option.
Exactly.
Okay.
Another form is magnesium thronate,
Okay.
which is marketed for its potential cognitive benefits.
Interesting.
It's thought to be better able to cross the blood-brain barrier,
Mm-hmm.
but the research on that is still pretty limited,
Okay.
and it's also more expensive than magnesium glycinate.
So glycinate might be a better all-around choice.
Yeah, I would say so.
Are there any downsides to magnesium glycinate that we should be aware of?
Well, like with any supplement, it's important to be mindful of the dosage.
Okay.
Taking too much magnesium can cause diarrhea,
Hmm.
and in some cases, it can even lower blood pressure.
So it's important to start with a low dose and see how your body reacts?
Yeah, that's always a good idea.
And should people talk to their doctor before taking magnesium?
Yeah, it's always a good idea to talk to your doctor before starting any new supplement,
Okay.
especially if you're taking any medications,
Got it.
because magnesium can interact with certain medications.
So it's always better to be safe than sorry.
Exactly.
So besides supplements, are there any foods that are good sources of magnesium?
Yeah, there are a lot of foods that are naturally rich in magnesium.
Okay. Like what?
So leafy green vegetables are a great source.
Spinach, kale, things like that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Nuts and seeds are also good sources, especially almonds, cashews, and pumpkin seeds.
Okay.
Um, Food like salmon and tuna are good
Yeah.
sources. And then some whole grains like brown rice and quinoa.
Okay, so it sounds like there are a lot of delicious ways to get magnesium from your diet.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you're not sure if you're getting enough from food, a supplement can be a good option.
Exactly.
And if someone wants to know for sure if they're deficient in magnesium, are there any tests they can get?
Yeah, so you can get a blood test to check your magnesium levels.
Okay.
But it's important to note that blood tests don't always give a complete picture of your magnesium status.
How so?
So most of the magnesium in your body is actually stored inside your cells,
Okay.
and only a small amount is circulating in your blood.
So a blood test might not be totally accurate.
Right, it might not reflect your true magnesium level.
Got it.
There are more specialized tests that measure intracellular magnesium levels,
Okay.
but those aren't as commonly available.
So it sounds like it can be tricky to get an accurate measure of your magnesium levels.
Yeah, it can be.
But if you're experiencing some of those symptoms we talked about, it's definitely worth talking to your doctor.
Yep.
I also wanted to touch on some specific conditions that magnesium glycinate might be helpful for,
Okay.
like ADHD, for example.
Yeah, so there's some research suggesting that magnesium glycinate might be beneficial for people with ADHD.
Okay, how so?
So magnesium plays a role in regulating neurotransmitters like dopamine and GABA,
Right.
which are often imbalanced in people with ADHD.
Got it.
And the glycine in magnesium glycinate can also help calm the brain and reduce impulsivity.
Interesting.
And because magnesium glycinate can improve sleep quality, it might also help with some of the sleep problems that people with ADHD often experience.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and it might also help with anxiety and emotional regulation.
So it's kind of a multi-pronged approach. Exactly. And what about rheumatoid arthritis?
Yeah, so magnesium glycinate might also be helpful for people with rheumatoid arthritis.
Okay.
Magnesium has anti-inflammatory properties, which can help reduce joint pain and stiffness.
Right.
And glycine also has anti-inflammatory effects.
Yeah.
And magnesium is also important for muscle and joint relaxation,
Got it.
which can help reduce spasms and cramps.
And I know that bone health is important for people with RA.
Yeah, definitely.
So the fact that magnesium is good for bones is a plus.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then finally, I wanted to ask about constipation.
Okay.
I know that magnesium citrate is often recommended for that,
Right.
but is there any role for magnesium glycinate?
So magnesium glycinate isn't typically used for constipation,
Okay.
but it can be helpful for people who are trying to break their dependence on stimulant laxatives.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because stimulant laxatives can actually deplete magnesium levels.
Got it.
So taking magnesium glycinate can help replenish those levels.
So it's kind of like a supportive measure.
Yeah, exactly.
So overall, it sounds like magnesium glycinate is a really versatile supplement
Yeah, it really
with
is.
a wide range of potential benefits. And it's also generally well tolerated.
Right.
But as we discussed, it's always important to talk to your doctor before starting any new supplement
Absolutely.
and to make sure that it's right for you.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think that's about all we have time for today.
Okay.
But I hope this has given everyone a better understanding of magnesium glycinate
Yeah, me too.
and its many potential benefits.
Absolutely.
And it really makes you think about all the different ways that magnesium might be affecting our health.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating mineral.
And if you're curious to learn more about it, there are a lot of great resources available online.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that's it for today.
All right, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Yep, of course.
And to everyone listening, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
And we'll see you next time.
See ya. Bye.